Okay, is this thing on? I just got a new mic. Hey everyone, my name is Max, and this is my story and how I changed careers from being a pre-med to project manager in tech. This video, I'll break down exactly what I did, how long it took, and some of the things that I would have done differently throughout that transition. I'm gonna try to keep this video in more of a raw, casual format, and I hope this video can help anyone who's looking at changing careers. Why don't we start with some context as to what my background is. I grew up with immigrant parents, came over from China over to the United States. They wanted to start a new family in this beautiful country to chase their American dream. So growing up, I watched my parents hustle and grind. They're the most hardworking people that I ever met in my life. And throughout that time, financial freedom and being able to provide for your family, those were two things that we talked a lot about in my family. What feels like a huge throwback now, why don't we go all the way back to my childhood? Went to public school systems my entire life. Parents couldn't afford any private schools, and we never had any types of tutoring, anything like that. Growing up in the South, success was viewed a lot differently than it is in a lot of other areas. And what I mean by that is, when I grew up, there was an expectation that you were considered successful if you were a lawyer, if you were a doctor, if you were a dentist, someone with a higher form of education. And growing up as a young boy in the South, I wanted to be successful. Being someone who didn't come from a lot of wealth, we didn't hear about any of these other types of jobs like jobs in tech, jobs in IT, investment banking, consulting, product management. Literally never heard of any of that until I went to college. So this paints a picture and gives you a little bit more context as to how much information I knew during this point in time. So being that I was a kid who was pretty good in school, I always got good grades, loved the sciences and math, I naturally gravitated more towards wanting to become a doctor, going the pre-med route from a very early age, maybe even around middle school. I set my aspiration that I wanted to become a physician. Thought being a doctor was super cool because you're able to help others, you're able to learn about the sciences, and growing up, some of the doctors that treated me when I was really little, when I was pretty sick, they were the ones that really made a huge positive impact on me, and I want to do the same for others. I think it's important to also mention that at this point in time when I was in middle school, high school, literally no one in my family was in the medical field. I did have one older brother who was very interested in the physician route as well, and I'm proud to say that he's actually a doctor right now. So clearly he's a favorite child in the family. Fast forward, we go to high school. Was really fortunate to have supportive parents who pushed my brother and I to really focus on academics. And of course, this got me the marks in high school. And from there, I graduated as one of the top of the class and was able to attend the university of my choice. My parents always taught me the importance of flying high and touching the sky, doing the most that you can with this limited short period of time that you have on this planet. Because of that, I applied everywhere. I applied across the United States, and fortunately, I got accepted to Yale University, where I attended for my undergrad. I want to share these details, not to brag, not to flex on any accomplishments, anything like that, but to really give you a full picture as to what my background is, what I did, and where I am now. Without providing these details, I don't think it would be a fair reflection of the things that I went through, and I want to give you as much of a realistic view as I possibly can portray. So fast forward to college, I'm embarking on this pre-medical journey. I'm taking all my pre-med classes, doing fairly well on those. I'm volunteering, doing clinical volunteering, shadowing different types of doctors, wanting to see, what the different specialties are and what gauge my interest. And also I'm doing research full-time as well. Applied to many different academic labs, and thankfully one PI, he took a risk on me, took me on board, and I worked with him for almost 3 years in college. So the reason I give you all these details is I really didn't have much time to explore anything else. I didn't even think about anything else when I was in college. The focus was on academics and just getting through the pre-medical classes as quickly as possible. So basically being a pre-med was a big part of my identity for a majority of my undergraduate years. Fast forward to junior year, this is typically when you take a lot more of your advanced science classes. Anyone who is pre-med at this point in time can probably vouch for me here. You're taking probably your higher level chemistry classes, your higher level physics classes, higher level biochemistry, things like that. So pretty intense in terms of needing to study for and things that you normally wouldn't learn until you get to that level. So during that time, things were pretty rough. Like, I was having a lot to juggle on my plate. The pre-med classes were taking a lot of time in terms of studying, learning, all that good stuff. Volunteering I was still doing. I was finding myself stretched pretty thin. Also combine that with academic research, and I found myself with very little time to sleep and very little time to honestly explore the things that truly give me more life outside of the academic and outside of the professional setting. I was finding myself not having as much time to spend time with friends, being able to have new experiences, try out new restaurants, just do all the simple things in life that give us a lot more joy. I came to that realization pretty early on in my junior year, and that's when I realized that I may need to take a gap year after I graduated in order to give myself just a mental reset, to give myself some more time back. That ultimately changed my life forever. Being that I was a pre-med, I didn't have much work experience, and I'll actually share in a little bit, the work experience that I did have up to that point. I really had to think about, after graduating, what could I do with that time? Because 1 year is a long time, right? So as I was preparing and committed to taking that gap year, took a step back and asked myself, what should I do with that time? Well, for pre-meds, you don't have that many options. You could do volunteering, you could do some type of research, whether that's wet lab or clinical. You could take additional classes, or you could spend that year just traveling. I'll go through each of these. In terms of the research, I already did it for 3 years in undergrad, had a pretty good grasp and concept of it, and wanted to change things up. I wanted to expand the breadth of my knowledge. So that wasn't the best option for me. In terms of volunteering, again, similar to research, I've been doing that pretty much since middle school up until university, and just wanted to do something a little bit different. In terms of classes, did fairly well in my academic courses, and there wasn't really a need to take additional classes to potentially put myself in more debt. And the last one, traveling. Well, I was a pretty broke college student, right? I came from, immigrant parents, didn't have a lot of money, got an almost full-ride scholarship going to Yale University, and during that time period, there wasn't much spare change in my pocket, so I had to be able to do something that would support me for a year. So then I really thought to myself, if you're a pre-med and if your major is in one of the biological sciences, you don't have many options in terms of, being able to do many things. People kind of put you into a box and they don't think you have necessarily the right skill set. So that was the first time that I really realized, wow, if I'm not going to become a doctor or become a researcher or do some type of academic research, I don't have many options and there aren't many jobs that I can do. So I had to get creative. I took a step back and I really thought to myself, what work experience did I have and what industries did I have good experience in? So to give you a little bit more context, when I was in college, I worked a couple of part-time jobs in order to help pay some of the academic institution off and to also just give myself some spare change so I could go out to eat with friends, all that good stuff. So these were the work experiences that I did have. I was a fitness center attendant at my college gym and was a part-time online tutor teaching children English. Not a lot of variety there, but really thinking about those experiences, for the fitness center attendant, I realized I really enjoy working with people, really enjoy being able to help people out, being able to solve their problems, and it was a pretty chill environment. For the tutoring, it taught me how to be independent in that I had a lot of flexibility with creating my own classes, and I was responsible for teaching the students certain types of material under a certain timeline. So feeling very comfortable with being able to deliver, we can almost call them mini projects during this point in time. Combo that up with my industry experience, which is clearly in the healthcare industry. So spent a good amount of my time shadowing physicians, working with physicians, working in hospitals, doing research, all that good stuff. And this was the first time that I really took a step back to really think about what types of experiences I already had and how I could leverage those experiences to help me in breaking into maybe a new industry. So this led me to researching a lot of different jobs that were related to the healthcare industry that were more generalist roles. And I want to specify the word generalist because at this point in time, I didn't have much work experience. I wanted to increase the breadth of my knowledge and wanted to just see as many things I possibly could right out of college. So I applied a lot of healthcare IT, healthcare project manager, all those type of roles from university. And because of my industry experience and my knowledge about research and about the healthcare industry, I think that really put me in a good position. That being said, getting my first job was not easy. I applied to probably over 150 jobs, local and just around the United States. And for most of those, either got rejected, got ghosted, or there was no next steps that I could take action on. In those points of time, it's so easy to feel just disappointed, dejected, and the hardest thing is really to channel in that energy in order to get to where you want to be. You need to have that mindset and be strong enough to let that fuel you to work even harder. So after 6 months of applying to so many different jobs, I finally found myself in a position where I had a couple of offers that I was thinking between. So the one I ended up taking was the healthcare IT project manager job, but some other ones that I had as backup options were, doing clinical research in various institutions. I had some opportunities to work at really large hospitals, but because I was given the opportunity to work on the IT side, I thought that would be a more worthwhile experience because it was a field and area that I really didn't know much about. So ultimately, that's why I made my decision. Let me leave you guys with 3 tips and one last parting piece of advice. First tip is take the time to just take a step back and really assess where you are in your journey. Think about where you are in your career and whether you're happy or not. Think about where you want to be. If those 2 places are different, then think about what steps you need to take in order to get there. This introspection is super helpful, and it's what ultimately led me to taking that gap year, which changed my life in that I didn't become a doctor. Currently still in the healthcare tech industry, and honestly to this point, I've loved it. Still enjoying my journey, and the biggest thing for me was I never really realized it until I was working, in that the work I'm doing, while I'm not directly treating patients, I'm not directly offering patient care, I'm not directly seeing patients, knowing that I'm still either working on something or building something that can help make people's lives better, that gives me enough gratification in my day, and that inspires me to continue working. Tip number 2 is leverage your industry experience. Everyone comes from completely different backgrounds, everyone has different life experiences. Think about what you've done to this point and what types of industries your experiences can be leveraged so that you can break into. Third tip is perseverance beats everyone. Don't be discouraged, especially with the job application process or changing careers. It's not easy. I'm not going to sugarcoat and say it's easy. It's super complicated, takes up a lot of time, but if you have that perseverance mindset and that growth and learning mindset, you'll be in a much better position, and your energy and that confidence will be protruding through the screen as you talk to your interviewers. That gap year truly changed my life. It showed me that there were things out there that I was really interested in learning and pursuing further in. I've been asked, do I regret my decision of being a pre-med in university? And honestly, no. Looking back at it, the pre-med classes were hard, but a lot of them I did enjoy. I love learning about the natural sciences. Some of my best friends were my, pre-med classmates that I grinded at PSITs with, that I did classes with. All of those shared experiences between us were really, really valuable, and I still treasure to this day. So everyone has a different journey. Everyone starts in a different area. You work with what you have. And from there, I truly think that if you're optimistic, if you're positive, if you work hard, you believe in yourself, you can truly get to where you want to be. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps anyone who's unsure in their career and where they are. And I hope this video provides you with the motivation and encouragement to continue pursuing the things that you enjoy doing. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.